Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Growth Capital Podcast. I am your host, Justin Dixon. And today we've got Joel Walker on the podcast. He is the founder and CEO of Hotline. Hotline is building the intelligent infrastructure for home cooking, connecting AI, groceries, and your pantry into one seamless system. What does that all mean? It really is an awesome application that he built, vibe coding himself, because he's a non-technical founder, essentially allowing you to kind of connect your groceries, connect what you have in your pantry, and also it recommends different meals and programs for you to use. So this is a really cool episode because we get to talk to a non-technical founder who created a technical product. He walks through his journey, vibe coding, 100 hours a week, trying to get this thing from idea to prototype before hiring any type of engineers. And now he's got a team and he's scaling his business. So if you're a non-technical founder, think you've got ideas and you've heard about vibe coding and you want to try it out, he walks through his entire process. I think we get a lot out of this episode. So let's get Joel on the pod. Interested in hearing conversations with private equity leaders, CEOs of private equity-backed companies, and startup entrepreneurs where they share their stories about their career journeys, starting, investing in, and scaling successful businesses, and the important role that having the right talent plays in building a successful business, then you are in the right place. Welcome back to another episode of the Growth Capital Podcast. Here's your host, Justin Dixon. All right, Joel. Well, thank you for being a guest on the podcast. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Well, let's jump right in. Give a little bit of an overview to everybody that's watching and listening to this, a little bit about who you are, where you are, and what you're up to right now.
I would love to. Yeah. So my name is Joel Walker, Texas native. I believe we are sixth generation Texan. My parents big into genealogy, so they trace us back all the way to the Battle of San Jacinto. Our name was York, I believe, back then. So there's a deep dive of who I am. Proud to be here. Love to be here. I'm a UT Austin alumni. Actually got my degree in film and moved to LA right after I graduated, worked at Disney. Then went to New York and did indies for a while, then got into content production for luxury lifestyle stuff, which was an insane job. They just flew me around the world. And I took pictures and video at luxury hotels, and they comped everything. It was pretty wild. It was on the road 3 weeks a month, though, so it got exhausting. Around that time, Airbnb was releasing their experiences vertical, which was the first time they did it. They did it again here just recently. But I got to go work on that launch. So I moved to San Francisco, got to work in the Airbnb office. It is as amazing as everyone says it is. The food's great. Just a killer place to work. And it was kind of my first introduction to the tech world, which was quite the introduction being at Airbnb on Brennan Street there. And our studio was right down the hall from Brian Chesky's office, the CEO. And so I saw him every day pretty much, and seeing how hard he worked and how dedicated he was to his organization was so inspiring. And so that experience kind of got me into tech. I joined a friend's startup after that, did a couple more, started my own during the pandemic. I had to exit out of that because I got into a pretty bad accident. I had to just kind of step away and recover for about a year and a half. But then earlier this year, I decided it was my time and my turn to do this on my own. And I had the idea I wanted. So I've been full pedal all year. And the project's called Hotline. And what Hotline is, it's the first real kitchen operating system. And it helps you cook better, shop smarter, and waste less without having to think about it. Kind of think of it as like AI infrastructure between the grocery store and your home kitchen. So I love cooking at home. The romantic reason that I started this thing was truly because it was an issue of mine. I would go to the grocery store, buy stuff, and half of it invariably goes to waste. You know, you forget you have ingredients, or, you know, you go out to eat, you have leftovers, blah, blah, blah. There's about a million reasons why you waste food, and none of them are good. But there has never been a real solution to keep track of inventory management in an analog place like your home kitchen. So earlier this year, when I left a job where I was in-house with a PR firm out of DC, I thought there's got to be something that I want to do that I'm passionate about that is within reach. And that's kind of when Code Assist, vibe coding got just good enough for someone like me who is a non-engineer. to kind of take a crack at it. And I understand technology well enough to know what kind of questions I need to ask. I've been around engineers for a very long time. So I thought, like, what the hell? Let's give this a shot. And so I spent the next 2.5 months alone in my house. I swear to God, I worked every single hour I was awake except for like 2 or 3 hours every weekend because I became singularly obsessed with this thing. And I was just having so much fun building it. I mean, I became a maniac in a good way. And so about like a month and a half, 2 months later, I had a working prototype of Hotline. It wasn't anything fancy, but it kept track of all my food. It was able to transact at HEB. I was able to put recipes on there, and it was a functioning experience. And so I started kind of talking about it and showing it around, and some friends and family investment came really quick and got some believers behind me. So started putting together a team, got a bunch of advisors, both in San Francisco and New York, that are kind of helping me along this whole venture path. And we're about to have our MVP release in about 3 weeks or so. Got a killer demo where it's all AI. You can talk to it. It's brilliant. For the alpha right now, I actually use it. And my command yesterday was, hey, Hotline, I need to shop for the week for groceries. I have $200 to spend for the week. I want to cook at least 4 times, and I want healthy snacks. And I want to use everything I can in my pantry. And it nailed it. I mean, I've got everything I want to eat. I'm using the things I already own. It's keeping me in budget, and I don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about it or shopping for it. I just, choose a pickup option at HEB and go grab it. And so it's this weird little intersection, I think, of where really good product comes from. And I think good product comes from solving an actual problem. There's like a couple different ways to go about this venture game, especially in software. There are people who find opportunities to try to extract value, which, works a lot. And then there are products that actually solve a real world issue. And I really don't think I would be as passionate or as motivated as I am if this wasn't solving a direct problem of my own. And I think that really helps guide decisions on product and how to talk to users and how to raise money. So yeah, it's been, my first time as a solo founder. I wasn't super ready for how much sacrifice and focus it took. I mean, you always hear that, and I could appreciate that on its face, but really experiencing it firsthand is a whole different thing. Yeah. And I got to tell you, I wouldn't want to do anything else.
No, that's awesome. I appreciate the overview because I've got a million kind of questions to dig into that because my wife and I cook a lot. We cook most of our meals, and we inevitably have too many spices, not enough spices, not the right spice. We, the spring mix in our fridge goes bad or whatever, right? And so
it's always a spring mix. It's always
yeah. I've seen so many reels. It's like you just buy the spring mix and just immediately put it in the trash because you're never going to use it. But I guess so. Explain it a little bit more around. So there's probably a lot of initial input that the user needs to do to go in and put in all the spices and all the accoutrement and that they have in their current, kitchen. And then I guess how much time does it take for the user to set it up to the point where then they can start to talk to it, ask it questions, and have it kind of produce recommendations for meals?
Yeah, great question. I get that a lot, actually. There's a few ways to skin that cat. One, we call it a zero user, someone who just wants to start fresh with Hotline. And, as they buy groceries through the app, it collects the information and all that. That's going to be, a fair amount of the cases, we believe, based on interviews. But I'm not one of those people. I want to use everything in my kitchen. So we are plugged in with Google Gemini and the GCP backend, and we have some very powerful image recognition tools. So you can open your camera, take a picture of all your spices. It will ask you to make sure that it is correct on some of these images. You can capture it by UPC with your camera, and you can also do receipts. So there's a lot of ways to do this. And, it sounds like this big Herculean effort. It's really not. It's super quick. But, the app is never going to make decisions for you that you're not ready for. So if it says, hey, Justin, do you want to cook this, chicken piccata? I think you have capers. Will you double check for me? So it will, make sure that if it thinks you have something and you don't, you can let it know and it can order it for you right then and there. But it's not going to let you, it wouldn't recommend that you, start cooking unless you have everything you need, because I have been in that situation where I'm halfway into cooking a meal and almost like all of a sudden, oh my God, I don't have fresh lemons. And it's just the biggest bummer ever.
Yeah.
So my anxiety over that will carry into the user experience to make sure that whenever you get in the kitchen, you're good to go.
And then so once you kind of have it loaded up, and I guess the grocery shopping scenario is also kind of a conundrum, because sometimes I go to the grocery store, I'm hungry, and I buy things that I don't need, right? And then inevitably they're maybe not healthy or whatever. And so your working prototype MVP now is plugged into, it sounds like you said HEB. So essentially I can say, I want to cook this, but I don't have these 5 things, or I want to cook these types of meals during the week. It will create a shopping list based on what you have in your current, in your current inventory, and also things that you need to go pick up, and then it'll order it for you. You schedule a pickup, and this is all done through the app, and you just kind of set it, forget it. Cool. Yes, I approve this. And you can even set a budget, it sounds like.
Exactly. Yeah. We, one of our kind of slogans is skip to the fun part. Because I deeply, deeply love cooking. It's one of the most human rituals we have. And all the stuff that you just talked about, like, information gathering, information organizing, actualizing that information into, an achievement to, go shop and bring everything home. All that stuff is work. And we are all so busy, and everyone is just getting busier and busier by the day. And so cooking is one of those things that, while it is I believe so important to the health of, like, our mental health of our relationships and families, it just gets swept under the rug. And it's because of all that work that you just listed off. So what Hotline does is it lets you skip to the fun part. All that stuff, which is important, it can now be semi-automated with, new technology developing right now. So yeah, all that stuff, you just got to tell it that, you need food. It will ask you how much and what you want, and then the rest of the details, it'll work it out. And as you use it, the AI is going to get smarter about you and understand what you like, what you don't like. It'll start actually picking up trends. Like, it noticed that I love lemon herb chicken on Wednesdays for some reason, because there's a meal planner in the app that they'll just assign meals on each day. And like, since I started the alpha, I think I've done lemon herb chicken like 6 Wednesdays throughout that time, and I had no clue. Yeah. So it will just the AI talked back to me a few days ago, and I was doing the grocery list, and it said, "Hey Joel, do you want your lemon herb chicken on Wednesday again?" I was like, "What?" So I went back and realized, it figured me out, and it was awesome because I did want it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that have allergies, dietary restrictions, et cetera, et cetera. I'm assuming you can probably load some of those things into the app, because I know families that one kid has one thing they can and can't eat, another kid has something completely different. And so, they've got to keep things separate, but also, make meals that are still edible for everybody and all that fun stuff. Are there ways to set preferences on, hey, this meal is for the whole family? So, keep in mind that, Johnny's got the peanut allergy and Tiffany's got the whatever allergy and all that fun stuff. Like, is it that kind of, can you get that sophisticated with it so you can?
Yeah, that's part of the onboarding. My nephew and my sister are both deathly allergic to peanuts. So yeah, I've been around food allergy before in my life. I've seen how serious things get quickly with that stuff. So whenever you join, we're going to ask you a few get to know you questions, like, what's your favorite food? What are your goals? Are you trying to save money, lose weight, get bulky, whatever? And then, what are your dietary restrictions? What are the absolute can't have allergy wise? And there's a couple different modes you can kind of play in the app with. One is called Hot House. And Hot House is if you live in a house with a bunch of people, families or roommates or whatever, and you want to shop together, you can create profiles for everyone in the house. So say, your son has a peanut allergy, your daughter thinks cilantro tastes like soap and she hates it. And, your wife doesn't want to eat carbs. All that information will go into informing Hotline what kind of decisions and suggestions it'll give you, which that's kind of where the kitchen still is very analog. We have access to almost every kind of food from around the world at this point. And globalization has really gotten, the food supply chain has not affected by globalization. But there's a limited amount of top of mind information that we can really keep on hand at all times. Like with those restrictions that I just reeled off, there are still about 25,000 recipes you can make instantly that would satisfy everybody. Yeah. But it's the combination of that information is something that is still very high touch. So that's one of the things that we really want to tackle is to create a new reality for you where your kitchen is your favorite restaurant because you can have literally whatever you want and it's all within reach.
Yeah. Last question on kind of the nuts and bolts of it, and then I want to get into more of the kind of business stuff. So you mentioned kind of you can set your preferences on like if you're trying to save money or lose weight or bulk up. So does it get into kind of macro tracking and making recommendations that, hey, I weigh this or I'm training for this type of event. I did an Ironman 2 years ago and I had to be, very religious on making sure I was eating enough carbs and protein and all the other fun stuff. So can you load in like, hey, I'm training for a marathon and so I need to fuel differently than I would if I'm just kind of more in maintenance mode?
Yeah, it's actually a great question to go into before we transition to business. We're going to have a premium tier, not much more expensive, like a couple dollars a month. But yeah, you'll be able to say, hey, Hotline, I need to eat X amount of macros, Y amount of carbs, Z amount of sugars. And this is what this is all for. Here's my budget. Make me a meal plan. We have to plug in on the back end to some more sophisticated nutritional data, which is, why there's a very small upcharge. But like that level of personalization is absolutely within reach. And we're very excited to, be able to service that kind of community because those people are extraordinarily conscious of what they eat, which we should all be. But again, with, the technological improvements over the last 6 months, even that kind of specificity isn't really that difficult for our backend system. So yeah, we'll be able to cater to any kind of lifestyle, any kind of diet.
That's awesome. So you mentioned vibe coding, and you're a non-technical founder, right? And potentially this idea or a company may have been out of reach 2 years ago, or would have been more difficult for you to start as a non-technical founder. You would have had to go probably pay for a developer or find a technical founder to be the co-founder and all that fun stuff. So talk to me a little bit about that process of using a vibe coding tool. What tool did you use? I'm kind of curious. And then how did the process start? For anybody that may be listening to this, that has like an app idea or some type of software idea, but they're like myself. That's like, I couldn't code if it's to save my life, but like now I can just talk to something and have it create what I'm envisioning through voice or typing in just kind of, normal chat. So I'd love to learn more about that process.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, this process is going to change everything in the tech world. It is now more possible than ever for someone with a non-technical background to at least get their idea to a prototype phase to show people, right?
Yeah.
So what I did was I watched a lot of YouTube videos before I touched a code assist program. At first, I just wanted to keep up with AI like everybody. I don't want to get left behind. I want to make sure I understand what's going on. That kind of led me into watching vibe coding videos. Okay. And the more I watched them, the more it just seemed, like I could maybe take a crack at this. So, I just consumed a lot of content at first so I could get comfortable with the terminology, where things are headed, which programs to use. So when it was time for me to jump in, I used Cursor, which is a code assist program. It's, I think, one of the biggest ones, if not the biggest. And I connected my my Google Gemini account, and I connected my ChatGPT account just to like test one against the other.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And then the first thing I did was I went to ChatGPT, just the chat. And I said, here's the idea I have for the app. Please lay this out for a code assist program so it understands what I want to build and how I want to build it. And the ChatGPT just spit out an entire PRD, detailed, segmented, everything organized in its right place, which I would never have been able to do on my own with my limited knowledge base. But I took that PRD and I put it straight into the cursor assist chat window, and man, 45 seconds later, I had like the skeleton of the prototype. I mean, there's a lot of work to do after that. But getting it to that point, I think that's a crucial hurdle that intimidates a lot of people. I think it would have been intimidating for me before I really started. But that process got me to first base.
What's a PRD?
It's PRD it's like instructions for an engineer.
Okay, got it.
Like think of it as a scope document. So yeah, I asked ChatGPT write out the scope for this prototype, and so it wrote the scope, and then I had the bare bones of what Hotline is now, and then every feature within the Hotline, the recipe finder, and then the meal planner, and then the shopping. I had to get into each one of those, and man, iterate. 6 months ago or so, the vibe coding, the code assist technology now seems Stone Age. Like that's how fast we are improving.
Yeah.
If I could take this Google Gemini 3 back to February of this year, I would have been prototyping in about 2 weeks. Like that's how quick this is evolving.
And how far could you get the prototype to doing things before you needed to bring in like an actual human developer?
Man, I had it transacting. I mean, I had it shopping on HEB. I had it.
So you connected like HEB and all that stuff through this vibe coding thing, and you didn't write an inch of code, essentially.
Nope.
A line.
I mean, it sounds easy. Yes. The way I said it made it sound easy. I was probably spending 100 hours a week trying to get this thing right.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, it was an intensely complicated process. I learned so much about Swift and React Native and API calls and backend stuff, SQL databasing, all that sort of thing. As I went along, I would get to a point in the app where I needed to do the next step, but I didn't know that I had to have a whole other knowledge base for this next step. So it was just a process of learning what I needed to learn. So it was a headfirst crash course into how to build a product. But man, I can't tell you how grateful I am that I did that. As a founder now who employs engineers, I am much more aware of what they do and not exactly how they do it, but I got a sense, and I would never call myself a technical founder, but to have that grasp as a leader and as a fundraiser and someone who is, constantly trying to think about the future of this company and this product, I am so grateful that I spent that time really kind of hacking away at what the prototype came out to be. It's I feel like if I had not done that, I would be a little ignorant and a little in the dark about how to talk to my engineers about, what I want and kind of shape the future for them. So it was, if you're listening to this and you want to do it now, you're in a way better position than I was in February because like all the code assist stuff is incredible now, but I wouldn't fall into this fantasy that, these app building AI tools can just spit out something amazing right now. Like if you want to build something unique and interesting that people will pay for, there's still going to be a ton of work. But the important thing is you can get that first prototype and express this big idea of yours in a relatable way on your phone to show engineers, show investors, potential customers. So, that's why I kind of say that this is the wave of the future. I mean, the amount of creativity that's about to be unleashed from AI alone is going to be staggering. It's no longer just engineers being the gatekeepers of technology. Like this is really going to change stuff. And I kind of see myself as part of that first wave of non-technical founders that are able to mobilize and get a project together with the right team without ever having to pay an engineer first.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of an interesting, it almost like unleashes a whole different segment of ideas because, I have had ideas, that are technology based for a long time, but no ability to take that idea and put it in paper other than, maybe a Google Doc. Right. But now I can, use ChatGPT or any kind of tool like that and one of these vibe coding tools to get my idea, at least on paper, on technology and actually show it to somebody that's like, oh yeah, we can do this, this, and this. And then it grows from there. Right. So I think it could unleash a whole different segment of people that have these ideas, but they're not technical enough to do anything with it. And now they can then do something with it. And it's going to get easier and easier.
This is what, AI is the only topic of conversation that the tech world seems to be able to have right now. And for very good reason. But there's a lot of noise about, the detriments of AI. And I think there's a way to really use it wrong. There's a way to use it nefariously. There's a way to use it to waste time, all that. But this is what I think AI is best at. It can close the gaps that exist in creation. Like, I started my career as a creative. I still like to think of myself as a creative out of film school. But, us like, candy cane, cotton candy brain people, it's hard to organize thoughts in a really cohesive way. Like I know what I feel and I can create stuff, but forever organizing my thoughts in an effective way is just really hard. I mean, I think maybe that's not just for creatives. I think there's a lot of people, but with, ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, the aha moment for me, the meteor hitting the planet for me was when I was just able to barf all my ideas into the context window and say, organize this for me, and it coming out instantly and seeing my thoughts and my intentions cleanly on the page was an absolute revelation. Like that's when I knew my life was going to be different from here forward. And it has been. I'm so much more organized. I'm so much more clear that I communicate better. And it's not because I'm asking AI to do my job for me. There is just a time gap and an effort gap that it can close for you if you know how to use it correctly. And that's what I did with Hotline. Like I had a gap there when it came to a knowledge base of building technology. AI was helped me close that gap. But it's not like I asked it to create me something out of scratch. Like I had to come with all the intention and all the ideas, but using the technology properly closes that gap for you. And, that's what I think this next wave of AI, if we do it right, I think that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this invisible behind the scenes thing that can close these effort gaps. Like with Hotline, it closes this gap of, coming up with ideas for food, making a meal plan, going to the grocery store. It just lets you skip all that stuff. And that's just an effort gap that, we hope will make people's lives easier and more enjoyable. And instead of technology as it was the last 15 years, where it's trying to constantly grab your attention and constantly distract you from what's going on in front of you, what I think the next step is just getting technology out of your face.
Yeah.
Letting it make your life easy.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so many things that I use AI for as a founder and, just getting my ideas out of my brain. And not that it creates a piece of technology, but I launched a brand new service offering this year to small business clients because I was able to sit down and I've had this idea for years. And then I was just like, oh, I can call it this, and this is how it works. And this is how I can operationalize it. And, now it's something that's being used by companies. So it's it's a very powerful tool for not even getting tech ideas off the ground, but just getting your ideas out of your brain. And, I use it a lot as a thought partner. So, it's really like, hey, I need you to think about this as a CFO of a big company. How poke holes in this? What am I missing? What are the gaps? So I think there's just so many more ways to use it other than writing a better email.
Yeah. Or having it as a therapist or, creating stupid pictures of dolphins with overalls on or whatever.
That's right.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. I used to work in Hollywood, and I can tell you there's a lot of people really worried about this out there.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. And the unions and the guilds are trying their best to protect the labor, which they should. But I got a friend who started an AI movie studio that was purchased by a very famous Silicon Valley person within 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And that's happening really fast because this is inevitable.
Yeah.
This is going to change the way we do literally everything. And so this is like, I really see this moment as another oil boom, gold rush, .com, whatever. And I don't want to make it sound like a bubble because things are coming out of it, but this is one of those moments in history where anybody can come up with something and get it on its feet. Yeah. And, it's happening fast. And after, I was too young to get in on the .com bubble in, early 2000s. And after that, I just always thought to myself, if I can ever recognize a pattern like this and ever see that opportunity, I want to go full speed.
Yeah.
Because you never know when these moments come up. You never know when a wave is coming. You just have to have your board and ready to paddle. And this is one of those moments, man. There are a lot of gaps in our lives right now that we don't even know that they could be closed with technology. And I think people from every walk of life now have the ability to bring it to life enough to show other people, which, talk about a massive sea change in just the way we interact with technology, both on a personal and societal level.
Yeah. No, I love it. And you kind of had an interesting segue a few minutes ago, because I was curious about your journey going from a solo founder that you've got this, your vibe coding. So you're dealing with kind of the AI world, to then having to hire people and scale out a team. It sounds like you raised some money pretty easily from your friends and family. So talk about that transition from being like, holy crap, I've got this thing that works for me, to being like, wow, this is actually, you're getting feedback from people, right? So people like probably poking holes, but also validating this could be actually, something that's real, to then being like, all right, I'm going to put my full effort. I'm going to bring in some outside capital, which is risky, right? For them and for you to do, to now being able to hire people. So talk about that journey going from kind of, wow, this is actually cool. It's an idea, but, oh, this could actually be a business that I can raise money for and scale and hire people.
Yeah, man. It was interesting. It was a very interesting transition, especially with how much of a shut-in I was as I was prototyping. It was, whenever I got it out in the world and showing people, it was like introducing my imaginary friend to people, because I was the only one who knew about it or saw it or ever talked to it. And so having people see it for the first time I was very vulnerable, because I was so excited about it. And, it's like writing something about yourself and having someone read it. Like it was a little nerve-wracking. Thankfully, everyone that I've talked to about it has been just really enthusiastic. It's one of those ideas that people can picture themselves using immediately. Yeah. Because the problem is so universal. But getting a whole team and outside investors and all of that, it was a relief. Let me say that. It was a relief, because that's a mile marker. It's an achievement you get to where this is validated enough to where people are excited enough to give you their time and their expertise. So, at first, I have people on with equity deals, and I have some contract workers. But everyone that's come on has just been thrilled. And one of those validating moments for me is when I talk about this idea with people and they immediately start iterating in their head. They're like, oh, what if we could also do that or that or that? When it grabs you so fast that you start making, it activates your imagination, that's when I know it's landed. Yeah. And, that's almost always one of those things when I pitch this, people think of like, oh, I could use it for that. Or what if we did this? And so hearing that and seeing that was the relief. I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. This actually has potential value for more than just me. And it was very good to stop vibe coding. I was very excited to get away from the code, because I felt like I was like running on a high wire the whole time. No clue what I was doing. And I didn't even like know the danger, if there was danger of what I was doing, because I was so just focused on an outcome. So getting into the hands of a professional, which I have an incredible CTO right now who's just running with this app. So yeah, it's great. It's exciting. Like, this thing that I came up with, and I pour so much time and my own personal money into, to see people get excited about it. It's awesome. It feels so good. And to see people talk about it, like, hear people talk about it without me, like, I will hear just secondhand conversations that some of my team or some of the like early alpha users discuss away from me. It's just really exciting. It's like, this thing isn't just me anymore. This can be an us thing. It can be a we thing. So yeah, man, gratifying. It is. It's every mile marker, every little notch I can put on the wall is just such. It's a joy.
Yeah. No, I mean, it sounds like there's been a lot of successes that you've experienced kind of through this process, and also probably breakthroughs in your own, like, wow, I can actually do this because of the technology that we have at our fingertips. I want to kind of start to wrap this thing up here, because I could ask you more questions about it, and I may actually after we're done recording. But like, I guess, you talked about kind of what you've done this past year, right? This is fully what you're focused on. I guess if we jumped on a podcast a year from now, right? It's early December 2025. So if we jumped on a podcast December 2026, what's like one or two things that you're trying to achieve in the next 12 months that would make that podcast like really exciting to talk about?
Yeah. 100,000 daily active users.
Okay.
A year from now. Man, I can't reveal too much from the roadmap, even though I want to. But don't
worry, nobody's listening. This is not going to be.
Now you jinxed it. Now everyone's going to hear it. So yeah, 100,000 daily active users. I want, man, and you come from a recruiting background, so I think this may resonate with you as well. I want a cohesive team, man. I want a team that really loves working together, and I'm under no delusion that I can create a job for people that they just truly love so much that they would do without being paid. That's silly. But I want, as a leader, I want to create an environment where people feel like their talents and their gifts are being properly used, and that they have the chance to grow into something that they want to be. I've been in teams of truly brilliant people who just don't like working together, or the environment is not conducive to feeling comfortable, and nothing gets done. And it's sad, and I've been in other situations where everyone vibes, everyone feels valued and seen. And man, the work that comes out of that is just incredible.
Yeah.
So, the 100,000 daily active users is a financial goal. But I know that if I can create that kind of environment where people really feel like their job benefits their life in more than just a monetary way, like, that'll be a huge accomplishment for me. And it's something that I really want to strive for.
Yeah, no, I like that you've got obviously financial goals for the business, but also more kind of holistic culture goals for people, right? Because obviously cooking and providing food for people, family, friends is a cathartic experience, and it brings more people together and gets us away from doing things like this, being through screens and everything like that. Although you could cook, the same meal and eat it together, I guess. But no, I really like that cohesive team approach, because it's not easy to build a culture and have everybody aligned on the mission. People and
like, actually, you actually said something really interesting, and something that is deeply personal for me about this project. Is I've got reasons that I want to start the company. Like, I don't want to have a normal job anymore, and I'm really excited about this moment. But like, my romantic, big picture side, I have had some of the most impactful, meaningful moments of my entire life with people cooking in the kitchen, eating together at home. There's something vulnerable about it. There's something comfortable about it. There's something just deeply, deeply human about it. And I want to help everyone to get back to that.
Yeah.
Like, our big slogan is home cooking is back. And for some people, I'm sure it never went away. But we live in a very, very bitter society right now. And there are a lot of reasons for that. and a lot of them are external influences, some internal. But I truly believe the more people can take those human moments and slow things down and perform a ritual like cooking together, that improves your life. That improves your relationships. That helps you get to know whoever you are cooking and eating with. Like my romantic, big, gushy heart reason for doing this is I want to facilitate that for people because that has been so meaningful for me. Yeah. And it has created some of my most favorite relationships and memories of my entire life. And I think that's possible for everybody. It's something you can do that's, not super resource heavy, not super time heavy, but you can create that moment that is just special. Yeah. It can be incredibly special. And so it's that thing that I want to create a great team for, right? Like I want to get the people in this company that feel that together to a point to where we can create a product that facilitates that for our users. So, that culture thing is important because I want to like where I work, and I want to have people who are happy working underneath me. But that cohesiveness, that gets through the product every time. Like that kind of love, I don't know how maybe it's magic, I don't know. That seeps through the ones and zeros. And it affects the people that use it on the other end. And that's the goal.
Love it. Well, that's a good place to kind of transition to the end because that's I don't think I could ask another question other than the three that I'm going to ask that could be elicit kind of that type of reaction. So thank you for that because it's a lot of people do things for monetary reasons, and it sounds like you've got more of a deep kind of passion for building this. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, let's kind of wrap this thing up here. We've got a 3-pack of questions that I ask every guest. First question is, what's a book or podcast that you would recommend to the audience that maybe you found impactful or influential?
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah. Maybe controversial, but one of the books I've read recently that I loved was called These Are the Plunderers. It is a sort of a modern history of private equity and how it started with Michael Milken and Boesky back in the 80s. Fantastic journalism. And it really kind of sheds light on how we came to this economic moment in America right now. And just, man, I'm a nonfiction guy and I just couldn't put it down. So, whatever your opinion on private equity is, because it can be very divisive.
Yep.
This book is just revelatory.
Love it. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I do a lot of work with private equity, so that'd be a good one for me to have in my repertoire. Second question here. What's your favorite thing to do outside of work?
All I do is
other
work,
than cooking,
right?
I guess.
Yeah, I cook. And I developed a hobby. I call it a step away hobby. I'm an artist now. All of a sudden, I paint, and it's interesting. I've had a lot of friends that are artists my whole life. Been around that community a lot in New York, and I realized when I started prototyping that I was so focused, and I knew that burnout was coming. So I decided I needed a step away hobby, and it just means I step away from the computer and I do something else until my brain gets fine tuned again. So I started painting, and it's the most perfect counterbalance to what I've been doing now because everything is so information heavy, very type A sort of stuff. When I hit a wall, a creative block or whatever, I step away and I paint, and it uses such a different energy and rhythm and part of the brain that it just lets me relax my psyche. And after a couple, between 30 minutes to sometimes 2 hours, I feel so refreshed. It's like meditating. And I can get back to work and I feel like I'm just, brand new and I get to hit full speed.
I love it. I never heard of a step away hobby. I kind of like that kind of model because I think we all can feel burnt out sitting in front of our laptops, especially if we're fully remote and you don't really have that human to human connection. Doing something that's not, and maybe your step away hobby is technically related, but that definitely is a good one to kind of not look at screens all day.
Yeah.
All right. Last question here. Favorite vacation spot?
Oh man, I'm afraid to expose
this. There's a secret one. We love those.
Not so much secret. So in Baja, Cabo's on the ocean side. The city called La Paz on the Sea of Cortez side. So it's on the other side of the peninsula, and there is a beach there outside of town called Balandra Beach.
Okay.
And if you Google it, you will see why, but it is a wonder of the world. It is absolutely eye-poppingly beautiful, incredible. It feels like, if there's a heaven, that's probably what it looks like.
Got it.
And it's a short flight from here. It's just beautiful. The food is incredible. And I will say this, and people have called me crazy, and you may as well, but there is a Baja style pizza. Like, they are developing their own kind of pizza down there. And it's thin crust, but the ingredients are very, a lot more seafood, a lot more citrus. It is incredible. It is amazing. So when I go down there, I eat my Baja pizza, I go to Balandra, and I just get one with the universe.
Love it. I've not heard of that, so I'll have to Google that when we get off and see where that's at. But,
check it out. Yeah.
Awesome. Joel, man, this has been a lot of fun. We could have talked probably a couple more hours on this.
Easily.
But if people want to reach out and learn more about you, maybe they're a non-technical founder, they've got this idea and they want to pick your brain about vibe coding, what's the best way to connect with you?
LinkedIn is probably the best way right now.
Yep.
So yeah, just check me out on LinkedIn. I'm sure this will be links on the podcast. Hit me up. I'm happy. I'm so happy to answer questions, man. I'm just so excited about this moment of technology. I cannot wait to see what comes out of it. And I think Hotline is just one of the many companies that's going to pop out of this thing. And so I would love to help.
Awesome. Joel, man, thank you very much. Really appreciate you being a guest.
Thank you so much, Justin. This is fun.
I hope you found at least one actionable insight from this episode of the Growth Capital Podcast, your one-stop shop for insights from private equity leaders, CEOs, and startup entrepreneurs on starting, investing in, and scaling successful businesses, as well as the role having the right talent plays in growing a successful business. It would be greatly appreciated if you would rate and review this podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and drop us a comment so we can expand the audience of this podcast. Thank you for all your support, and don't forget about upcoming episodes dropping every Tuesday.